Okay, guys and gals, this is something that fell into my hands. It was pretty much a part. What you're looking at is the differential from a Type 1 Volkswagen trans axle. I'm tongue-tied today. So anyway, this guy brought it to me because they were getting ready to, his son was getting ready to put this together to put it in his car, and he broke one of these bolts. Let me take a couple out and show you. Of course, this was all in there with the bearings, and he couldn't figure out how to get it out. And he's all freaked out about a broken bolt in the differential. So this is the original bolt. See, it's got a hole in it. It's pretty much 10 millimeter by 150, I think. Let me see. I forgot now. Is it on the box? No, not really. I had to buy a box of 15. And if you look at this guy, it's got a little bit of a shoulder. And this one doesn't. You just flat can't get one. And I had to drill this hole in it. Notice it's a little cockeyed, but it is what it is. 3 millimeter carbide, solid carbide drill bit. Anywho, so I got the bolt figured out. When I took it apart, that bolt, I could just turn it out. So I got to put this all together. I found out these two outer bearings were bad. Not bad, but noisy. And what really caught the guy off guard is that this bearing was on right here, and he could not figure out how to get it off. You can't get any jaws under it because it sits right down, almost flat against this guy right here. And they got these guys underneath it, which sets the distance. So if you imagine, this guy sits in there in the case, and it slides in one side, and then a cover goes on it. And these shims are where the factory, when it was originally made, is they set the distance so that the ring gear right here would match with the pinion perfectly. So now it's a big question. I don't have to worry about it because this guy wanted me to just get the broken bolt out. I got the broken bolt out, and I found out that one of these spiders had like 3 teeth broken on it. So we went back and had to get parts. So I got new bearings and new pinions, or new spiders, and I got to put it together. So that's what this is all about, me putting this thing together. So, okay. So first thing to remember when you're putting anything together is put a little lube on it. You don't want them totally dry. When, you know, the guy goes to put it in there, yeah, he's going to fill it with gear oil, hopefully. But it's going to take a little while for it to soak in everywhere. So I just give it a little initial amount, right? So in this particular case, this pin goes in right here, and it's pretty snug. It slides across in there, and then there's a hole right here where a retaining pin goes in there. And that's how it works. So we'll see how hard it is. So first thing I'm going to do, I have to take the pin this way. I have to go in this way. And I'm going to put a little bit of oil. This is basically whale oil for the lathe. It's a fine lubricant, and it's better than nothing. But you know, I typically, if I was in the shop, when I was working in the shop all the time, I'd use like motor oil, just a real fine lubricant. multi-grade oil, motor oil is as good as anything. So then you got to take and get your finger on this guy, get it down in here. Yeah, it's kind of snug. So now I've got it halfway started. I'll drop this guy in here, and so I get it across. If you can see in there, that spider's right here. There's another one goes on the other side. So I get another spider, a little bit of oil. See if I can do this. See it in there, and then you put this guy in. Come on now. Got my finger in there. Just like that. That's how they go. So then, put this guy in here. I'm going to stop right there. So, I went to grab a little prod. So, it went in a little too far. I'm going to show you. Okay, so this side it's kind of tight. This side it's really tight, right? Okay, can you see that? I'm gonna zoom it in. So the point of the exercise is, let me look at the pin real quick. See the pin? Got kind of a mushroom head. The other one isn't. So you take the end without the mushroom. Right there, it's kind of hard. You can't get it going, right? But over here, you can get it started. So what you got to do is make sure this guy is pretty much lined up. If I can get it to cooperate. See how I'm eyeballing it this way? That's pretty good. Take this guy out. I'm going to tap this guy in. Once it gets in there, it kind of gets like happy. I can see through there. I want to make sure I get this guy lined up so I get a little screwdriver in there. See that kind of action? See that? Now put the pin in there. There it is. See, now it went through. It's not seated all the way into here, but I'll do that. But now these two spiders are not going to fall out. So, using some blocks of wood or blocks of metal. You can see, put this guy right about here. It's kind of a hard thing to do, but I can get that guy to sit. Use a chunk of wood, anything you can, right? So, I'm thinking that's visible. I hope it is. Then you make it, you got to seat it home. Okay, we're up against, I need a punch. Oh, where are you? So basically a punch. This is the tool that's going to be taken out with. You know, when I originally took it out, I knocked it out with a punch. Now you can look right in here and there's a gap. You want that gap gone. It's really tight back in this end. Now it's flat. I'll show you. You can see this end's got a little divot where you punch it out. That guy is perfectly flat. So that's ready. So now, first thing you got to do, this guy goes down there. You take all the bolts out. I got to zoom that out a little bit, I think, because it's so close. There you go. So I take all these bolts off. Move this stuff out of the way. So this guy's going to go down like this. Hold on. A little oil in there because you're going to have to move it around to line up to the bolt holes. You want it kind of a little looby where this thing rides. Okay. Now, back in the day at Volkswagen, they had all kinds of special tools to line things, but this is a shop, you know. So turn it over, rotate it until all of the bolt holes line up. Put one in. All right. Make sure they go in without a hassle. It's one of the OEM bolts. And so I have to go and find some let me see, I gotta find some safety wire because these guys are held down with safety wire that's routed through those holes in the heads of the bolts. See, I don't think I have. Is it this one? So I can't really torque these. Oh, that was way off. What did it pick up? Number. That's it. 17 millimeter. I just want to make sure they're all down. That's something weird. Because the other rule is if it doesn't go in real easy, take it apart and figure it out. See, it seems to be this bolt. What is that? It's hard to tell, but it looks like a tiny piece of metal in one of the threads. Chip. Yeah. That bolt's a little, just a hair tight, but these are like, see, 1960. That's like 60 years ago. So these bolts have been running around a while. Okay. So I'll just go around and just snug them because I'm going to have to torque them later and put the safety wire in. I don't have the safety wire right now. So anyway, when I took it apart, see if it's still there. Can't hardly see it. When I took it apart, I put 2 lines. These guys, can you see that? These 2 shims with 2 lines, they came off of this side. So I put those back in there, right? So take a bearing. Get it kind of close. Now if you notice, I'm using a brass hammer and I'm hitting only the inner rays. Okay, so now I'm close enough that I'm in danger of hitting this inner bore with the hammer. And this guy is almost down all the way. So I use a punch on the race. Back and forth, opposite sides. Now, whoa, hang on. There's a point, and it's right there. Some guys that have experience will have noticed the difference in sound when I hit the bottom, and that's called a peen, where it contacted. Flip it over. Put shims on there. Found these guys on Amazon for like $30 each. And if you buy one from like a major bearing producer or Germany, they're $200. And I'm mostly letting the weight of the hammer do it. And I can feel it moving every time. Same thing here. I get down close. I stopped using the hammer on there because I don't want to hit this. Let's see. This is very close to bottoming out, so see if you can hear the difference in the sound. That wasn't it. Man, my shaking's going bad today. I get older and older and I shake worse. Hear that? That was the one. That was the one right there. Yeah, and the other thing is that just like that, the hammer will bounce when you hit that spot. So, almost done. These are the side gears where the axles go in, and it's the swing axle. Put a little sauce on it. Put a little sauce on the gear. This one, I buffed it just to mark it so I knew it went on this side. A little bit more. Sauce it up. And there it is. Just so you know, those are the tools I need to put this guy together. Yep. A little brass hammer. 17mm wrench. A little screwdriver to line up the hole. A little prod to do the same. And a punch to seat the bearing. So now, one last trick I'm going to tell you. Turn around this way would be better. Let me zoom in. Oh, there's some light flashing in somewhere, huh? Wonder why. So anyway, right inside here is a groove where a snap ring goes. And how it works is the end of the axle comes in, and on the end it's got like a flat section. It's hard to describe. And then there's two shims that are like, they're about this long, and they look like two halves of the cylinder, you know, so it's a hemisphere, but just one side. The hemisphere is wrong, I guess. But anyway, they sit in there, the axle goes in between, and a snap ring goes here. And when these things have been running, and you've been driving around, in this case, it's a Baja Bug, a 69 Baja Bug. Or a rail, yeah, it's a Type 1 Baja Bug, I think. Anyway, they've been running around this 60 years driving this thing, right? And all the banging and running, it makes little tiny ridges on the snap ring grooves on either side. And so when you go to take it apart, you have to go in here and sand off that little burr around this edge, or these guys won't come out. In fact, you can feel right there where it goes by there. But in any event, thus ends the lesson on reassembling a 1960 Type 1 differential for a Volkswagen Beetle. So yeah, Beetles are Type 1s, vans are Type 2s, and then there's 3 and 4s. The 3 is like Carnegie, and some other versions of 4 is like can't remember what they called it. It was a sedan, like a little station wagon, Type 3 Volkswagen. Anyway, I learned this working at Volkswagen in the 70s. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more weird stuff. I got to wrap this up. Well, I got to get the safety wire and torque these guys and then run the safety wire all around. And let's see. Where'd it go? Oh, here it is. My old safety wire. See this thing, if you get the wire grabbed on the end, you put it down and you lock it, and then it's kind of hard to do it because you hold the wire and you pull it and this thing will spin, see? Kind of need some lubes. I've had that a long time. Been sitting in my toolbox for decades unused. Anyway, thanks for watching. Okay, I lubed it up just for shits and giggles. So there's the pliers. See? Come on, get going. It's harder up because I can't keep it vertical. Down, that's the way it works. In case you never saw one of those. If you ever seen little wires on bolts that are twisted real pretty, that's how it's done. One of those pliers. All right. So you can see I've threaded it all the way around. And I got these two wires in there just like that. I'm going to take this pair of pliers and grab them right at the tip where that cross is, like so. Then lock it in. I'm going to give it a little more. There it is. And there you have it. Oh, come on, guy, move. So, just so you can see that, I don't like a long tail sticking out. So all it's going to do is, in the case of this bolt's working loose, they won't be able to go too far, you know. It's unlikely to happen, but apparently the Germans learned back in the day that people would like maybe do their own repairs, and then one bolt gets loose, it comes out of there, it destroys the whole transmission. So that's why we do it. That's why we tag wire it.